Hello everyone, finally welcome to episode 12 of my quest for 1 million zombie kills in Call of Duty Zombies. Yep, that's for those who are new, that is a million. And you know there's something oddly meditative about this whole process of trying to get to 1 million. Some people, for example, they go to the gym, some people do yoga. What I do is I slay zombies, and I've racked up a nice total of 72,672 kills so far. Just 927,328 more to go, and no big deal. At this point, I'm basically a one-man zombie apocalypse. I mean, someone's got to protect humanity, right? But anyway, the important thing here, as much as I love mindlessly mowing down the undead, life has a funny way of pulling you away from the screen. Like, for example, YouTube, which has been my age-old thing that has dragged me into the depths of all these different subjects. It's kind of therapeutic and addictive and educational at the same time, I would say. It's my ultimate weakness. I would have to say that. It's like a black hole of productivity for the most part. You go into thinking, oh, I'll just watch a quick video on how to make money, and suddenly it's 3 a.m. and you're 10 videos deep into conspiracy theories about how the pyramids were built by Bitcoin miners from the future. I've been binge watching these educational videos, the kind that promise to teach you how to make passive income from books and revenue, and ad revenue and all that good stuff. And while I love learning about this stuff, there are days where it feels like I'm running in place, kind of like learning a lot, but am I actually going anywhere with how much I'm learning? It's like I got all these great ideas, but I'm sitting there on YouTube instead of putting them into action, to be honest with you. And maybe I need one of those millionaire mindset videos to kick me into gear. But the real kicker this week, this wasn't actually this week, it was earlier. I lost my glasses, they were completely gone. Searched everywhere, couldn't find them. And I finally found them in the parking lot, or what was left of them, of course. Someone had stomped all over them, and like they were in a zombies game themselves, kind of. It was like watching your favorite Coca-Cola machine get destroyed in the middle of a round. So yeah, let's just say I've been squinting at the screen a bit more than usual lately. Maybe it's giving me a new kind of superpower, or maybe I just need to make an eye doctor appointment. And speaking of YouTube binges, one of the guilty pleasures of mine has been watching Jay Dyer's religious debates. And I'm wondering if any of my audience members ever watched those. Probably not. I only have 120 subscribers. But they're the interesting kind of debates to listen to, except with more, you kind of have a lot of philosophy and theology and fewer punches to the face than wrestling, I'd imagine. But Dyer gets into these heated debates with random callers on his live streams, and it's definitely gold to listen to it. You can tell he's got a low tolerance for nonsense, which makes it all the more fun when someone tries to come in with a half-baked argument, or just, something where he senses something that is like insincere about the person, which is usually what happens. He kicks people off the line left and right, and honestly, I don't blame him. The guy's got no time for bullshit, and I respect that. It's like watching a video game streamer rage quit, but with theology. And now getting back to the zombie killing saga. After a long break, I finally am back on the grind. I even thought about starting an X-Defiant podcast at one point, but let's be real, my plate's already full with a million other things. Between zombies, YouTube, and life in general, who has time for all the projects we dream about? I've come to terms with the fact that this Million Zombies challenge is going to be a years-long process, and I'm okay with that. It's like a marathon, not a sprint. I mean, if I can't have one of those Lifetime Achievements Award in real life, if it's not for the Banner of the Broken Cross, for example, it'll be for Call of Duty Zombies. And lately, though, I've been thinking about AI, and I know AI, which is talked about by everyone recently, but hear me out. Been keeping an eye on its development, and while I'm not one of those doomsday, the robots are coming for us people, I do have some concerns, specifically if it is taken over by large corporations and centralized. that is where things can get really dicey, I would say. As long as it stays decentralized in the hands of people, we're fine. But once corporations start locking it down, and that's when we have a problem. But hey, as long as AI isn't coming from my zombies leaderboard, I think we're good for now. Anyway, back to the important stuff, the zombie stats. As I mentioned earlier at the beginning of this, I'm at 72,672 kills, and I've set my sights on hitting 100,000 soon. It's a big milestone, but I'm pacing myself. 1 million kills is still the ultimate goal, and trust me, at that point I can stop this tedious process. I will get there. It's all about consistency, kind of like reading books, except instead of turning pages, I'm turning zombies into nothing. And speaking of books, I've been on a bit of a reading kick recently. Right now, I'm slowly working my way through The Lord of the Rings, Return of the King. I read the whole trilogy when I was in 3rd grade, and now I'm revisiting it as an adult. It's just kind of as good as I remember. It's the only really book series that completely draws my attention. But of course, you got to remember that life gets in the way, and it's taking me forever to finish it. I'm almost done though, and I'm savoring every moment. It's kind of like when you get the last few levels of a game and you don't want to rush it because you know the journey's almost over. I've been keeping track of all the books I read, along with the page counts. It's a little thing I do to gamify my life, just like I track zombie kills. I track my reading progress. It's oddly satisfying seeing those numbers go up. It keeps me motivated. I think that's the one thing that keeps me motivated, is tracking the progress. And I picked up a book of Shakespearean sonnets, all of his sonnets actually, by the way, from Barnes & Noble the other day. I've always wanted to I don't think I've memorized one poem, but I've always wanted to memorize a poem, and I'm terrible at memorization. So we'll see how this goes. And maybe, just maybe, during the zombie waves, I can probably memorize at least one Shakespearean sonnet. And on the nonfiction front, I've been diving into books like The 48 Laws of Power, The Bitcoin Standard, and The Fiat Standard. I've always been fascinated by power dynamics and how the financial system works, and these books break it down in a way that kind of is terrifying as far as the 48 Laws of Power is concerned. And in the Fiat Standard, it's kind of terrifying how they can just print unlimited amounts of money with no consequence. And this is how, if you really understand it, it's how a lot of the wars are funded. But that's a whole nother can of worms. And but at the same time, again, I'm a slow reader. At this rate, I might finish these books, but I've read the Bitcoin Standard. That's the one I finished, but I probably will finish them at the same time that I hit the 500,000 zombie kill mark. But thank goodness that Spotify allows 15 hours of audiobook listening. That's definitely a game changer for someone like me who can barely get through 15 pages a day, no joke, to be honest with you. But speaking of books and audiobooks, been toying with the idea of producing audiobooks, well, not just toying with, but I've been completely focused on it, using audiobooks, creating audiobooks with AI voices. The only problem is 11 Labs turns out to be super expensive. It's cheaper than hiring a voice actor, but when you're on a budget as tight as mine, it's really tough. But yeah, one day the plan is to ultimately have voice actors voice all of my books eventually. But that day it seems very far away from now. For now, I have to settle for the text-to-speech programs and pretend it's Morgan Freeman narrating my life. And on a serious note, recently had to sell off a lot of my investments to make sure that I'm able to pay for some things. So that was really sad when that happened. And even with all that going on, I feel like I'm kind of overflowing with ambition. I've got so many projects and books in mind that I want to publish. Most of them are poetry books. The problem is the market for poetry is so small that I feel like no matter what I do, I can't get any sales. The main problem is, I think to get sales on Amazon, you have to have an established audience, or the book has to be already on a subject matter that people know well, basically. And I've always had this feeling that it'll probably be long after I'm dead before I finish all the books that I'm planning on reading. It's like I'm chasing down zombies and literary goals at the same time. If I can't beat the system, I'll at least die trying. And since we're on the topic of Bitcoin, one of the constant thoughts I've always had is about the story of Bitcoin and how it started. And there's something about almost divine about Satoshi Nakamoto. It's like he was kind of, I know this sounds kind of sacrilegious, but kind of like he was sent by God. But you get what I mean. He wasn't in it for personal gain. What he created was kind of a gift to humanity. It's fascinating about where Bitcoin will go next. Maybe it's going to the moon, to be honest with you, because of the amount of support it has, the decentralized nature, and it's the only real asset that's decentralized that's like a cryptocurrency. And to be honest, all the other cryptocurrencies are scams, if I have to be honest. And as my personal life goes, I've been contemplating leaving my job at the call center. It's not exactly a dream job, to be honest, but I can't really make a move on that until my second child is born. Really looking forward to whatever life throws at me. It's going to have a lot of better opportunities. And before I finish, I just wanted to mention that my book Dominion, God of This World was recently published by Melodium House. It's the 6th book, if I'm not mistaken, in the Harmony and Leafy series. And if you're into poetry or just want to support a guy who spends way too much time killing zombies and writing books, I'd recommend to check it out. So yeah, that's the state of things: killing zombies, reading books, making plans for world domination, the usual kind of stuff. But honestly, I feel like this balance between gaming and life has been kind of therapeutic when I get the chance to play it. To be honest, I haven't played in quite a while. I'm going to start back into it a little bit soon. And I've got my massive zombie kill count goal, which is similar to my word count goal for the Banner of the Broken Cross, which is 22 million words. In other words, I'll probably be dead before I finish it. But yeah, I always want to chip away at crazy goals. The small goals are they never inspire you. It's the moon that inspires you, the stars that inspire you, for example. And what else? I'm looking at my notes here. Hang on. Yeah, I think that's about it. That's all I wanted to say. So I don't have any more thoughts left. I've run through all my notes. Tried to throw some jokes in there, unlike before, but I think my podcast can get a little bit monotonous and serious. But anyway, please subscribe to the channel. Really a struggle out here. Thanks for listening. Have a good night. Bye.